Welcome back, everybody. It is, gosh, what is it? Tuesday evening, and it's time for another episode of Giles McCoy Live. And man, I've got some choppy camera action going on right now. I don't know what that deal is. Hopefully it's not too bad for all you folks out there. And see a couple of people already out there. I see Hi-Fi Haven. I see Richard as well. So all you folks, I'm happy to see you joining here tonight. And remember, if you want to, feel free to share this out, subscribe, ask other people to, cheer, all that kind of stuff. And so today I'm going to do something that I am, man, what's the right term? Not super comfortable with, because I am not super good with the Trinnov operating system and configuration. I should be better, but I just haven't been able to spend as much time playing with it as I would like. And that's why I said this is going to be the UI explored and not necessarily the UI explained or completely understood. Welcome, Kevin. Good to see you. That's Kevin Sorkin from GSG Audio. And we've got Jan with us. Good evening. Richard is here. He's asking if I'll be in Kansas City in June. I will not be there, unfortunately, but I won't make it out to that show. And we've got Hi-Fi Haven here with us as well. Everybody out there in the crowd, please make sure to say hi. Drop some comments below. And here's a quick little I've got the Trinnov pulled up, and we'll get to that here in just a minute. But I want to talk a little bit about my lack of complete understanding. If there's anybody out there that's like super pro at these things and wants to jump in and help, you're more than welcome to get in here, and I can send you a link so you can join and teach us all. But in the absence of that, we're going to stumble along by ourselves and just look at stuff. And we've got Mad Pranas here with us. What's up, MP? So little foundation. So there are lots of different pieces of gear that you can use in your home theater, right? And today we're going to talk specifically about either your AVR or your processor. And the difference typically between those two things is that AVR has amplification built in, and a processor typically doesn't, right? And they're called pre-pros. And then you would have external amplification. Now you can have an AVR that's got pre-outs that you can turn into a pre-pro if you want to, so to speak, and turn off the amp section. Just depends on the AVR. And they're like tons of different brands. You can look at things like Emotiva and Onkyo and Pioneer and Marantz, and start moving up the food chain. And there's Acurus and there's Storm and Trinnov, right? And usually the two that are kind of bandied around as the kind of the top dogs are Trinnov and Storm. Although some people will be like, no, my JBL synthesis is the best, or my Datasat is the best, and it's all up for debate, right? They all absolutely will work great. But the two that I've liked the most have been, at the top end, and that's assuming built-in technology in the unit itself is the Trinnov and the Storm. Acurus is good, but you need their external tool to do room correction, that kind of stuff. Makes it a little more awkward. However, I've used the Acurus for a super long time, and I really love it. I've got the Muse. But what I wanted to do today is just dig through this UI and take any questions that come up and talk about it. Now, if you want to look at stuff, you can go to the Trinnov website and go to their product manuals, and there's an Altitude 16 manual in there, and it is voluminous, and it's actually really good. I mean, I can't even imagine the pain that whoever the technical writer, the pain they went through to write that document, because there's a lot of information in there, and I'm sure there's like a first draft and a second draft, and it's probably a living document. Rich is right. Kellen's really good with this stuff. And if any of you out there are looking at home theater upgrades or need any ideas about things, there's a link down in the notes here where you can fill out a form. and that'll come my way. It can help line you up with folks that can give you a hand. And that's everything from a $1,000 pair of speakers or $500 pair of speakers up to a $30,000 processor or 200,000 or 500,000 or $1 million complete new build. So always happy to help figure out the right strategy for you and your home theater build and upgrade process. So all right, now we're looking at kind of the main menu. And so if you can see here up at the top, this is the Trinnov Audio app. So for folks that don't know, and the Trinnov basically is a computer, right? So it's much like the Mad VR processor is a computer, right? It runs an OS, and it's got special input and output boards and HDMI stuff, right? But at its core, it's a computer. And what we're looking at now is using the Trinnov app is a screen share off of that machine. So you could actually go to the Trinnov and plug in a mouse and a keyboard and stuff, and use it, directly that way. But it's in the other room, and it's really nice having the capability to sit down at your computer and do this stuff. Now, another feature that's really nifty for Trinnov is that you can actually get on the phone with your support person, right? Your integrator, whoever that might be. Maybe it's Kellen from Dream Media, or it could be somebody from Trinnov, or whoever you're working with, and they would be able to have access into the box, and then control this thing remotely, assuming it's on your network. And you want it to be on your network, because that's how you're going to get all your updates and all your help and all that kind of stuff. Now you can actually I forget the name of the tool that they use to do the screen share, but there are third-party tools that you can download and use to actually connect to that if you want to. But if you go to the Trinnov site, you can download the Trinnov app, and there's one for your iPhone. And then the full-fledged version, of course, runs on your PC. And that's what we're looking at here. And so there are, there's file view monitoring devices. Help doesn't work for whatever reason. No help for you. And then you get down into the screen, and we're on the main menu screen here. And this, what we're looking at now is it's kind of showing you what the box is doing at the moment. So this is the volume, and you can interactively control it here. So I'm actually controlling the unit that's in the other room, right? I don't have my projector turned on, but I suppose if I started playing music or something through there, we could hear it and blow something up potentially. And you've got mute, and you can dim down the screen if you want to, and it shows the source. And we'll step through all this stuff in a bit, but this is on my Kaleidoscape source. So it's doing PCM and no up mixer, and that's on the inside. And on the out, there's nothing really changing there. The Trinnov optimizer is on, and that's the room correction technology, and it's pretty sweet. So in my room, there are a number of challenges, right? So I have the same kind of room that I think a lot of people that are kind of in the enthusiast but not super wealthy stack, people that are like, okay, I'm going to spend a lot of money on the gear and that kind of thing, but I can't go buy another house, right? Kind of people. If I could go buy another house, I would have the perfect two row theater, blah blah blah, and I would have a 160-inch tile direct view screen, a whole bunch of others. Anyway, but I don't get to have that. So my room's a retrofit room in the basement, and so it's like about 14.5 by 14.5, and there's like a stairwell on one side. So there are a lot of compromises there from a room acoustics point of view. And then I've got 4 Atmos speakers in there, and they are not they weren't specifically designed to be Atmos speakers, so there are better options out there. But those are the ones I have, and I don't want to spend any more money. So those are the ones that I use. And I will say that in that room, with the gear I have, it has never sounded better than with this device doing the sound management for the room. That the Atmos really came alive using this system in a way that it never has before. So I just want to get that out of the way, that I'm thoroughly impressed with the capability of Trinnov and their proprietary room correction technology. It's really, really cool. And I don't do waveforming or any of the new advanced stuff from a bass management point of view. Although I've heard it and it's really good, and they do crazy tricks with that. And we're not really going to cover that today because I don't really have a way to test that out yet. Well, maybe one day. Um, but I really do like this quite a bit. All right, so file. You can't see it, the pop drop down menus, but this gives you about Trinnov and then check for updates. View. There's an option to show remote commands monitoring. Volume up and down, dim, mute devices. I could disconnect from this device if I wanted to. But now we're back into here, so you can see like how we got to the volume up, down, mute, and the sources, the clock. This is Ethernet is on, right, and connected. That shows my MAC address and IP address internally and all that kind of good stuff. And then you click on clock, and it shows your status information, CPU load, and the clock mode is external. And then the optimizer, you can see the different things that are on and off: acoustic correction, level alignment, delay alignment, and then Trinnov remapping. This allows you to kind of move speakers around in space when your physical speakers aren't where they really need to be. So it kind of virtualizes and uses, like, it's kind of like how you can get a stereo image between two speakers. You can kind of get the I guess stereo between different speakers in the room to make the apparent source of that speaker where it ought to be. So yes, I do have the Trinnov microphone here, and the Trinnov microphone is the coolest of microphones. It's got the 3 prongs, and it's actually set up in my theater right now because I changed some stuff from the last time that I did this. And the last time I did this, I had a very, very skilled rep from Trinnov helping me do it. So I haven't done it by myself, but I did change the subs. So I'm going to try and do this by myself at some point and see how it works out. Well, I don't know that I'll probably just make it worse, but I have all the settings from the 3 subwoofer setup I had before, and I'll be moving to a 4 subwoofer setup. So we'll see how that goes, but yeah, I'll report back. Ronster TV Home Theater says, "Hey, Giles, great show. Thanks for all the knowledge. I appreciate that. Thank you for stopping by and taking a look." And remember, if any of you guys want to support the channel, feel free to join up and be a member on YouTube. I don't really do Patreon and all this stuff, and that's the one direct support method I have, other than just showing up here. That's the best support that anybody could ever give. And so let's see. Click here on the sources. You can see, I've got a Kaleidoscape, an NVIDIA Shield, a 4K display, which is the Panasonic, and Apple TV. Rune Ready is built in, and you can see details there, and you can manage this stuff. And we'll go through all these so you can see that. On the output side, this is crazy powerful. Crazy powerful. All right, so that's this screen. So let's go ahead and click on this cog here. And so we're on the presets. So we'll talk about that. So when you do a configuration for the Trinnov, you can actually save that, and then you can load into any of these things. And all of these different presets is everything inside of the configuration for the Trinnov. So this is everything from your inputs and output settings to the mapping of your speaker channels to the optimizers to everything. And what we did when we did this before is they have the built-in preset that we left. Optimizer 1 would be the general optimizer that I use when I'm watching multi-channel home theater. Optimizer 1 is a 2-channel optimizer for music. So if I was just going to listen to 2-channel music with subs, I would use this guy. And then there's more presets, and then down here, optimizer 1, an extra copy was saved. So in case I accidentally blow up this one, there's another copy, because you can copy these and move them around and stuff like that. and the prevailing wisdom is that get a good setup, and then you just save one, right? Just in case, right? Now preset information. I don't know that I've ever looked at this screen. Calibration. So 12, 19, 23. So we did this calibration about 6 months ago. Preset data, blah, 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 sample rate 48,000 hertz, and comments. No comments. My comment would be, it sounds really good. But that's the presets. So let's go back up to home. Okay. And under home, you can see the sources, right? And some of these renamed, and then some just have got the generic HDMI 7, 8 network, moon ready, analog, balanced in, blah, 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 right? And then, it shows the presets here. So I think, you can change those. Meters, there's nothing currently playing through this thing right now. So no meters are moving. And then, okay, here's another bunch of settings, right? So you can go into Kaleidoscape and you see all of the details here, right? You can go into Shield, 4K, Apple, and really, if you look, I think mostly the only thing that's different is the input connector. So that's HDMI 4, HDMI 3, HDMI 2, HDMI 1, because we all know that Kaleidoscape is the number one source out there. I know them's fighting words for people. And then it's set to use the last loaded source as power on default source. So for me, I basically use 3 sources for the most part. If I'm watching a movie and I want to have the best experience, I use Kaleidoscape. If I'm watching TV or I want to stream something, I use the NVIDIA Shield. I hardly ever use the Apple TV. I hardly ever use the 4K disc player. Because I don't really watch a lot of old movies back. See, the world has changed. When you have a Kaleidoscape and you want to do demos, you can create like a demo reel that will play like 15-second snips or whatever you want from a whole bunch of different movies, and you don't have to change discs over and over and over and over. So I mean that really changed the world for me. So most of the time I just watch a movie one time and I buy it on Kaleidoscape, and then it just it's there if somebody else wants to watch it, but I don't rewatch a lot of stuff. Then for music, Rune with Qobuz is my go-to source there. All right, so here that's this. Now we're going to look at the optimizer settings, right? So the optimizer is on, and all the stuff is on. And I'm okay. I don't remember any of this stuff, by the way. So I'm just going through because I've done this like once. And it was really good after it was done, and I've just been using it since then, which I think has the experience that most folks typically have when they purchase one of these. It gets set up, and the system doesn't change too much, although my system changes a lot and I just never fix it on the inside. I need to do that more. So advanced settings, you can turn on early reflection correction, energy response correction, and delay alignment, and remappings, and the filters, and it's just there's so much, right? And I think maybe this one, there was like, as we were going through the configuration, people were like, or the Trinnov folks were like, okay, this is pretty good, but there's another thing that we can use that might get things a little bit better. And they went and did something, and maybe it was this, the different filters, and they were like, oh yeah, this is better, blah, blah, blah. But I mean, there's a lot. And this is why I think it's important to really engage with someone who has a deep understanding of this. This is not like buying a Onkyo or a Marantz or something, or using Dirac. I mean, this is heavy. I mean, there is a lot going on in here, a lot. So you got your positions, and you can see your speakers in here, top view, elevation view, and summary, and then calibration, and measurements, and blah blah blah. Microphones. Yeah, this is I think the wizard that we'll see at some point does a lot of this stuff for you, so it makes it a little bit easier. You don't have to be super pro if you really just want to dork around, which is what I do. All right, so this is a pretty good view of the before and after and the filters that are applied to kind of fix the stuff in my room, right? So this is the nastiness before, right? And then here you can see all the different the speakers here, right? And of course I'm not showing everything, but these are these are the Atmos channels, which are just gnarly ugly, right? And it shows the before, and I think this is left top front, right top front, left top rear, right top rear, and then sub 1 2 3. Now I have another sub. I haven't redone this, and Richard is correct. Yes, please do hit the like button. That's much appreciated. And the more comments that you guys put in, the better it is for me, by the way. So feel free to put in inane comments if you want to. Nothing lewd, but load it up. It's all good. I'm happy to have a ton of comments in there. It makes YouTube think it's more popular than it might really be. And if there are no comments, then YouTube's like, this was really horrible. But look, I mean, just look at the difference of what this did. I mean, that's pretty outstanding. I mean, obviously my Atmos speakers aren't going to be super kick butt all the way, down to 20 hertz. They're pretty capable speakers, but they're not that capable. But look, I mean, all the way down from 40 for the most part, all the way up to 18K. I mean, they're pretty darn good. Let's see if I can add. Okay, so let's turn off those from the display, and then this is what it did with my left and right. I mean, look at that difference. I mean, that's amazing, right? I mean, that's freaking amazing. And then the most important speaker of the room, the center, it turned it from this hot mess to not a hot mess at all, right? And look, okay, this is plus or minus 10, so 5 is halfway up here. I mean, this is like plus or minus 2, right? I mean, it's like a negligible volume difference in the tonality, or in the no matter what the frequency is, right? So it's super linear. And I haven't really looked at this. Let's see how some of these others did. Left surround and right surround, pretty good. Left and right rears, spot on. Everything's get a little squirrelier now, but you're down in subwoofer world down here, remember? Yeah, it's amazing. I mean, it's amazing. And then let's see what the subs do. It's probably going to be not so nice. Oh no, it's all right. Look at that. They're kicking in down here, and they are flattish down to you can see these guys. I think 1 and 2. I think these are the Perlissons in the front, if I remember. And the Perlissons are like, no, we want to play louder, under 20 hertz. Give us more. What is that bottom one? Oh, that's the filter. So if are you talking about this? So this is the before, and then this is the after, and then this is the filter that the software applies to the before that gives you the after result, if that makes sense. And then the subs, they're really not playing much past 120 hertz, which is the top end of the LFE channel. So John, or Jan, if that's what you were asking on the, okay, awesome, yeah. So that's the filter. So that's pretty freaking awesome. So amplitude, and then amplitude direct, and then we've got phase correction. Let's see what this looks on the LCR. Put it up like that. So this stuff, so a lot closer. Interesting. All right. Group delay. Impulse. And I don't really know if this impulse linear. I don't know. This gets a little bit out of my wheelhouse with the more esoteric stuff. But you can see that the filters, they do a little bit up here, but then they're like, oh, the bass, let's fix this. Or maybe that's, I don't know, time. Oh no, this is time. 4 7. Yeah. See, I don't even really know how to read this graph. So for folks out there that knows what's going on, all right, let us know. Just curious, does Trinnov tell you how many filters it took to create those results? Um, all I know is that that's the filter. I don't know. So I don't know the answer to your question specifically. I don't know if they're like I get what you're saying. You know, are they? Is it like at uh, 60 hertz or 80 hertz? Do a minus 20 with a Q of 6, right? Or something like that. And then how many of these things are in here that make up these filter lines? I don't I don't know if I don't remember ever seeing anything like that. I get the question, but I think it's likely an immense number of them, because I mean, you can see that, you know, this, you know, each one of these is probably a different filter, and, you know, like 30 on just one channel, and you're doing this across, you know, 16 channels. So I don't know, 30 times 16, what are 304, 500 filters or something. And that's a pure guess. I do not know. It's absolutely pure guess. All right. So let's see what else we got here. And then this is display on settings, graph overlay, frames before, measure points. Yeah. Okay. I don't know. Uh, okay. Processor. Um, this would, this is, you know, like CPU stuff. And if the processor was actually doing anything other than just having us look at it, it might show something happening. Master levels, meters. Okay, no, I'm wrong. That's not CPU stuff at all. That's left, right, center. So this would just be volume, volume meters. Yeah, there's nothing going through here. I thought this was the CPU piece, but I think that's somewhere else. Can you export the filter to a active speaker like a Hypex amp? Well, let's see. If I were going to do that, let's see. Runtime. I don't know the answer to the question. I'm just going to tool around. We'll keep that in mind to see if there is a output like export kind of thing. Optimizer graph display. Yeah, I don't see anywhere where you could do that, but we'll keep going through all the stuff. There's still a lot more to go through. Maybe we'll find a spot that does that. For crossover purposes, yeah, we'll see. Let's just keep our eyes out, and we'll see what we come up on. Okay, so meters, master, and master levels, relative levels, latencies, blah blah blah, inputs, outputs. There's a lot of stuff going on here. Output delays, setup, generate reports. Okay, well, let's go back to sources. Here's a active crossover. So one thing that's really cool about the Trinnov is if you're super hardcore, you can use like if you got like a 32 altitude 32, you could use it like use three channels. Like if you did a LCR custom built that were 3 ways or 4 ways, you could use 3 or 4 channels and have this do all of the crossover management of that for those speakers. So it would, you know, if it was 3-way speakers, that would burn 9 channels. But, you know, if you're doing that kind of stuff, that might be the right thing for you. And then you don't have to buy a whole another set of active crossover technology to run your speakers like that. So, you know, Trinnov, this device will absolutely do that. Trinnov's got a lot of history in pro audio and advanced, you know, techniques for managing speakers and that kind of thing. So you could do that if you wanted to. I don't have any speakers like that. Mine are all just send it the feed, and it's got internal passive crossovers. But it will do that kind of stuff if you want it to. There's your clocks. You know, you could do external, or you can do a 44.1, 48, 88.2, 96 config editor. I am not going to tool around in here. So you can load them, save as them, delete them. I don't want to do that. Details about the network. Of course, I'm just running DHCP. It's pulling off an internal system status. And this, I think we saw before. And then we're back to the presets. Okay, back to main screen. And I think we were in here. Yeah, back to main screen. And then we'll go to the check mark. All right. And this is that main screen, shows your different sources that we talked about already. So there's nothing new in here. Now we'll go to what is the room stuff, right? So, this shows you your speakers and where these are living in your room, right? So what you can do on this is you can map, a speaker output to any output channel, right? And if you look, I kind of just plugged everything up, right? So I just jammed all the connections from the processor into the amplifier, and then plugged in a bunch of speakers. So I really didn't know which speaker matched up to which channel in the Trinnov. So I just went through and I would send a test tone out, to one, right? And it would be like, shh, okay, that's the right. So then I'd come to the right and I'd set it as one. And then I did the next one. And eventually I got them all mapped out. So it makes it a little bit easier to deal with that kind of stuff if you're doing that. And then you can see, in my room, I've got the LCRs, surrounds, rear surrounds. At the time, I had the 3 subwoofers and the 4 Atmos speakers. So that's the room layout that I'm dealing with. Okay, now we'll go back into fine tuning section. What was this other one called? This was called they didn't name it, the layout section, I guess. Hold on, let me just click this one. Okay, yeah, you can set your room size and all. It's just, it's just so much stuff in here. It's redonkulous. All right, so you got base management and optimizer settings. Oh, I want to go back to the base settings. All right. There's quick setup, individual setup, and I think the wizard will run you through this stuff and set this all up for you if you want to. You can see where it's got, my subs are low passed and high passed. Of course, the LFE channel is the LFE channel, but this is where it's pulling and summing from all of my satellites. And then if you want to go through and change stuff, you can put a setting in here, and then you can choose speakers to assign it to. And subs to assign it to, and then you can apply it. And this says, be careful, applying new settings will overwrite the existing ones. And so I am not going to dork with all of this stuff because I don't want to mess it up, because I do want to watch a movie tonight later. And then, let's see, that takes us here. Let's go back to the main screen. Okay, and then this is, the representation of the little microphone. Right, so that's kind of what that looks like. And speaker room optimizer. Welcome to the speaker room optimizer process. Here are the first essential steps to control the acoustics in your specific space, blah, blah, blah. So you can edit an existing configuration or start a new room configuration here. And once I practice with this a little bit more, and I get to the point where I feel comfortable doing room configurations, I'll do another stream and we'll run through that process, and I'll show you exactly what that looks like. I don't feel comfortable doing that now. I'm just comfortable enough to run us through the UI and hopefully not blow up anything. I don't think I've blown up anything. But and you really shouldn't be scared of this stuff, right? Because you can always just, if you blow something up, you can get help and figure it out again and get it going. It's all configurable. But that is the UI for the Trinnov. Arguably, one of the very best home theater processors on the market today. And in the future, I'll do more of these. I've got the new Onkyo, and I've got the Primaire, and I've got a Storm that I'm going to upgrade. And I'll show that it's the first generation. It's like an old one, but I've got an upgrade board for it now, and I need to do that video where I actually film putting that board in. And I've been doing a special project for a manufacturer out there of video processing, and I've been spending a lot of time on that. So the time that I would normally be spending editing other videos, I've been spending doing other stuff. But that's almost done now, so I'll kind of get back into my normal rhythm of things. But I do want to show all those off and go through the Storm upgrade, because I think it's really important to be able to have a processor that can kind of grow with you. Isn't it crazy? I mean, just the amount of stuff that you can do inside here. I mean, it's a lot. Um, how would you compare sonically? Just, like, yeah, pure just sound. I think they both sound great. Absolutely. Just they both sound really good. My favorite three right now, just for the audio, and not considering any processing, just the output. I think the Trinov's great. I think the Storm is great, and I think the Acurus is great. And I think the Acurus is more like the Storm than the Trinnov. And I can't really describe a difference to you. You just have to listen to them. But I think the Acurus and Storm are very similar. After that, you really get down to the room correction technology and that kind of stuff. And there's some differentiators there. But just as far as sonically how they go, I think they both are, all three of those sound absolutely wonderful. And I remember the first time I put the Muse in, the Acurus, um, and and I was using a unit that was purchased from Best Buy before that, and there was a significant dealer, significant dealer. Can't you get your dealer? Absolutely, you can. Totally, you can totally do that. And that's why I was saying before that, that dealer relationship I think really becomes super important with this type of device. So where things are a little bit different than me than I think for your typical customer is I like to get in here and mess stuff up and play, right? A lot of folks that are spending this kind of money, they're not necessarily the enthusiast that, like, wants to DIY it. They're like, I want to pay somebody $300,000 and I want a perfect theater, and all I want is a remote control where I push play and I can get into my Kaleidoscape and select a movie, and I'm done. That's all they want. So they'll never look at this kind of stuff, right? But if you are a person that likes to tinker around and that kind of thing, just make sure your your dealer knows that, hey, I'm going to blow this stuff up, and they'll go in and they'll back up some profiles and that kind of thing, so it's easy to get back to where you were. And I think after a while, if you've tinkered enough, you get to the point where you can restore back your kind of default profile after you and create a bunch more. I'm just not super savvy yet, but I hope to be at some point down the line, as good as I am with kind of the more Best Buy-ish consumer grade stuff that's out there, which I think is a lot easier to deal with, but not nearly as powerful or as effective. Um, all right. Gosh, if there are any questions out there, feel free to throw those up. But that was what I was planning to cover for the evening. And, like I said, I really can't say enough about this technology. I mean, it's really, really amazing. Oh, look at that. Now I'm big. And it's small. But I really can't say enough about the Trinnov. It's absolutely phenomenal. Um, and right now, in my room, I have three parts of what I would call the four horsemen of the home theater apocalypse. And I don't have all this stuff put together, but I've got the Altitude 16, I've got the Kaleidoscape, I've got the Mad VR processor, the top end processor, but I've got a janky old JVC projector, which is not super awesome at all. I mean, it's okay, but I mean, it's like, I don't know, 9 years old or something. But I mean, it's okay. Um, what I really would like to do is get my hands on like a 120-inch micro LED wall from Samsung or LG. I like the LG, I think it's called the Sapphire or something like that. I would love to get my hands on that and then put that system together. And I've got my Starke Sound speakers, which I love, and they're really good. The weak spot, of course, is the Atmos stuff, but the Trinnov did a really good job even making those sound good. I would like to upgrade to the Starke Sound P series, which they had at Expona this year, which are amazing. Although I don't know how I would fit them in my room. They're really designed to have some space, right? I mean, they are big units. So I'm kind of neither here nor there and trying to figure out what I want to do about that stuff. But realistically, I will stick with the speakers that I have because, it's a lot of money to start swapping that stuff out. And I think they're mighty fine for my purposes. Actually, I think they're really, really good. but the display, the screen, is my big problem right now. Problem, right? And there's like one company, Just Video Walls. That's another piece of technology I wouldn't mind using. Um, Richard, you and I, great minds think alike. I was just calling them out. Problem is, I just don't have, the free cash, right? I've got a 15-year-old, and it's car time, so money that I might otherwise spend on toys, I will be spending on a new vehicle, or probably a new to us vehicle, because I don't really like paying for that depreciation. You guys know how that goes. And I don't just have enough FU money to be like, I'm going to buy what I want. And so, I think figuring that out will be a while. One thing I have considered doing is, with the advent last year of the wave 100-inch televisions. So in my room, I don't have a super big screen. It's it's a 2:4:1, and it's about 118 inches, something like that. Diagonal in the 2:4:1. It's a masking screen, and when I mask it down to 16:9, it's about the size of a 100-inch TV in there. Um, uh, so what's mine is hers, and what is hers is hers. So that doesn't that won't work. Um, uh, no, we're all in everything together, and it's just the money for our video wall is just not a priority for us right now. But what I might do is just pick up a 100-inch TV and just kind of eat my own dog food, because I've talked a lot about the demise of the projector and that kind of stuff over time. And I could pick up a 2,000 or $3,000 100-inch screen, which would give me the same size experience at 16:9, not nearly as nice on 2:4:1 scope, right? But in 16:9, and I watch a lot of TV, so it wouldn't be that bad. And the picture coming off those things for less money than a big old JVC projector is, maybe I'll just bite the bullet, and I can just rip the projector out of the ceiling and reclaim some space and not have to worry about that, and be able to use the room with the lights on. And just there's a whole plethora of advantages that you gain when you move away from technology that makes you turn your lights out for the experience to be even halfway decent. There's a lot of stuff. I mean, and then if I were going to build a new room and I had a lot of money, if I had all the money in the world, I would never put a projector in. Just I would not do it. You can use that space for so much. No, not I am so not doing a ultra short throw. I mean, that's right now. Ultra short throws are really hurting, right? So not a lot of people are doing 150-inch, 100 ultra short throws. People. I think the kind of the sweet spot for the ultra short throw was the 100 to 120 inches, um, and the television market is just going to kill that, right? It's TCL has the new 115-inch, which is like 20 grand or something on the street right now, which is ridiculously expensive compared to a $5,000 UST. But I think people that are doing 150-inch screens are not doing the enthusiasts. They've got a 15 or $20,000 JVC back there, right? Um, I I think the UST market is really gonna uh, be devoured, consumed by the large form factor television. When we get that 115-inch down to 5 grand, that's the UST will be relegated to use cases where you can't get the TV into the space, meaning that you just like you have to go downstairs and there's a turn or something, and you just can't get the TV there. So the only thing that you can do is use a UST, and that's going to be where those kind of fall out at. So um, I think that's what's going to happen. Hi-Fi Haven says, I'm thinking about doing a 100-inch also. The that 100 blah 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 something K from Hisense, no, from TCL, Hisense. I mean, just a really, really solid television, and for the money, an absolute steal. Um, uh, Absolutely, you can. But for me, I don't. Who actually can project? Who has a wall that can take a 200-inch screen? That's a big wall. It's a really big wall. I don't know. Um, but I'm, I'm all in for direct view, and that I feel absolutely 100% sure that it's the future. And there's a lot of pushback right now because I'll say this to people and they're like, "Oh, I just don't get the same feeling from it." And I get that, right? They're like, it doesn't give me the same feeling as a theater, right? But I'm like, you're 50 years old. I'm 50 years old too, and you grew up going to movie theaters because at home there was a 19-inch TV, and that's all there was, right? So your experience was that. My kids, I can guarantee you they'll want a big screen, but there's no way that they're gonna put a projector in. And my boys, who are 15 and 12 now, have never bought a CD. They have not ever bought a cassette. They've never. We've bought a few discs for video, but we don't even do that anymore. So that physical media is not a thing in their life. So that part is gone, and projection. While we do have a theater, they don't even want to. They'd rather watch just a big screen television in the living room. So um, there's I have a lot of different points of view on theaters. The one thing that I do like about going to a theater is the size, right? And there is something to be said for going to a theater that has a, I don't know, 5-story tall screen or something like that, right? Maybe I'm exaggerating, but a really, really tall screen, really, really huge, something that legitimately you can't get into a house, right? It just doesn't fit. That does have a feeling that you can't reproduce at home. And even in commercial theaters, because they're doing direct view panels in commercial theaters now already. And they even have specialty use cases like at the Sphere in Vegas. That's all direct view stuff. Um, but they, that really big environment, I do find that to be special still, and you just that's something that you can't reproduce at home. Um, it could be IMAX, it could be a Dolby theater. They all come in pretty big flavors. There are some of like the real IMAXs, not the what they call Limax. But like if you go to the IMAX in Irvine at the Irvine Spectrum, that thing is humongous, right? It's big. And that's the kind of thing that I'm talking about. You just can't reproduce that at home. There's like 100 seats of theirs. I mean, it's just more than that. I mean, it's like seats are like angled like this and it just goes up. I mean, it's like screens like 100 feet tall or something. I don't know. I don't know what the real measurements are, but it's super huge. Um, but that's kind of my take on that stuff. I don't even know how I got off on that tirade. Um, but again, so that for folks that just joined, we went through and took a look at the UI for the Trinnov Altitude 16. If you missed it, you can go back and watch it over. It's all there. And if you are here and you're not yet a subscriber, please click the link and subscribe down below. If you're coming here on Twitch or X or some other platform, hop on over to YouTube. That's my primary, and you can find me at Giles McCoy there. And I'd love a subscription. And if anybody wants to support the channel any further, you can always become a member and become a royalty. Much like Richard is, he is a royalty here. He is a member. He gets the special symbol beside his name that only royalty get. Experience is completely different with a TV. The light will project to you. A projector is easier on the eyes. That's another common pushback that I get for folks. They're like, no, I can never go to a direct view because of the light's different. For me, it's not an issue. I've got projection and direct view TVs, and I can watch either of them as long as the other doesn't cause me any problems. But my experience won't be the same as other people's experience. But um, and I also sit in front of a computer all day long too. So maybe I've trained myself into that kind of thing. But for me, the amount of light that comes off a direct view versus the amount of light that comes reflected off a screen, I don't know. It ends up being about the same. And the direct view is going to be able to obviously do more because you'll be able to really get into HDR in ways that projectors really can't. And have different kind of visual experiences. But no, I totally get your point on the how there are differences between projection and direct view. I do think that over time And again, this is just my prediction of the future, that that will become less of a thing, as folks that are 15 years now, in 15 years become 30, and folks that are 60 now are 75 or 80 or dead later on. So I think that's just going to be a experiential thing that kind of shifts over time, as far as the taste, or the specifics of what people like, um, are willing to accept or think is the right thing to have, however you want to think about it. I think that's going to shift over time. Um, and what we like now is not really going to inform what the future is. So, if I were a business, I would be looking at this stuff thinking, okay, what do I need to do now to make money? What do I need to do to position myself to be ready 10 years from now? Right. So, if you're in your career and you're 30 years old or something like that, you got 30 more years of needing to stay relevant. Now, if you're 50 like me, and or 60 or even older, um, it's it really will determine, kind of your point of view. No, that's great. 97 is awesome. Um, and that's I was actually, I had a checkup, and I was talking to my doctor, and I think he said the typical lifespan for males, like 70, 78, 77, something like that. Um, so, I'm 50. I've only got 20 something years left on average, because my mom's 80. Oh, well, she's 79, almost 80. And he's like, yeah, she's already beat the odds, right? She's doing really good. And hopefully I'll make it that long or longer as well. And in a meaningful way too, right? Being able to enjoy life and do the things that I want to do and that kind of stuff. Obviously, you know, uh 90 is different than 50. But here's something interesting. All right, so we're going to digress a little bit from home theater, but Ursula K. Le Guin, right? Author. She wrote, I think, A Wrinkle in Time and the Earthsea trilogy and stuff like that. And a lot of kids in school end up reading that kind of stuff. Um, she lived to be into her 90s. So, the story I'm going to tell is from my memory. So it's going to be a little bit off, and it's just the gist of it. I don't remember the exact quotes, but basically her takeaway on aging was, when she hit 70, she thought, okay, this is what it's like to be old, right? And she's like, this is what life will be like. Well, she's then turned 80, and then she's like, nope, I was wrong. 80 is completely different than 70. So now I know what it's like to be old. And then she hit 90. She's like, nope. 90 is completely different than 80, then it's completely different than 70. Because like from 20 to 40, for me, it was all kind of like the same. And 40 is like, that's when things changed. The 40s, and I lived through those, and I'm 50 now. But she's like, it's a lot different then. I don't think she hit 100. Maybe she did. But for me, it was kind of thought provoking, because I was like, yeah, okay, I see what she's saying there. All right. Animation speaker story songs. I like it. Nice conversation. Thank you. Always glad to carry on the conversation, and for everybody out there in the audience to participate. And Double A man, you're late. We needed you earlier. I'm sure there was some kind of question that you could have answered that nobody else was able to answer, but you could have done it for us. But it's good to have you here no matter what. And, there's a lot of other people out there watching that haven't said anything. So for all those, there are people that are just joining in right now. Make sure that you comment. And Dallas. Well, so for me, after my world champion Denver Nuggets just completely crapped the bed, uh, lost to the Timberwolves. Yeah, I was kind of done at that point. So I'm not even following. I don't even know who's left. I don't care anymore. I'm just so sad. Nuggets, you just horrible, so bad. Lost 2, won 3, and then lost the rest. You're only as young as you feel. I agree. There is a lot to it. And mentally in here, I still think I'm about 12 years old. And my wife says that I act like that I'm about 12 years old. And my 12-year-old son says, Dad, you act like you're about my age. So yeah. Uh, Master Lesson says, uh, Niles, thanks for all the hard work. You've been a very big inspection for 50 more years, baby. I like it. I'm down with all those things. I will inspire as long as I can inspire. Yes, I am a young man at heart for sure. I agree 100%. Maybe too young, maybe too young. We are closing up on our time though. Um, Double A says he had a baby last year and he keeps me very young. You know what? So just a comment about children. Like I alluded to before, I've got two boys, 15 and 12, and what was great is I got to be a kid again with them and play with toys and watch all the cartoons and do all that stuff all over again, right? So I got to have a second childhood, and now I'm getting to be a moody teenager again, I guess. I don't know. But uh no worries, man. I totally get what you're saying. It's all good. But one day, if I live long enough, my boys will have their children and I'll get to do it again. And nobody can say anything to you when you're a grandpa or dad and what you're watching cartoons and stuff with the kids, right? It's totally good. But if you're just like some weird dude that's all like, let's go to Toys R Us, that doesn't work, right? But if you got kids, yeah, you can go look at the toys and have a good time. That's that'll be me. And man, I'm just telling you right now, my kids don't know what's going to hit them, because when the grandchildren come around, I am going to just stink and spoil them, nasty, rotten, dirty, spoiled as much as I can, because I'll get to give them back. But that's my plan anyway. Animation Speaker Story Song says, I'm 40, have two kids. I don't feel my age yet because I'm a single dad, and I pick up from school, make some food, play with them, and I feel tired. But yeah, no, I'm with you. They'll keep you young, right? They will keep you young. I think it's our jobs to teach them, and make sure that they understand that the small things that they worry about, it's not the end of the world, and help them get that bigger perspective on the world and life. You be a super dad, especially if your son loves the audio. That neither one of my boys are like super hardcore into audio or home theater. They're into like smaller personal electronics, that kind of stuff. However, just yesterday, we had a Memorial Day yard work, and we built a brick circle around a tree in the front yard, the little planter thing, and we pulled out the. I just did a unboxing on the whatever that thing is. It's the boombox Bluetooth speaker from Altic Lansing, the Rockbox XL 2.0. I remembered. And so we took that thing out there outside, and the boys played with it, and they hooked it up to their phone, and my son was playing Spotify. See, they're totally happy with the Spotify. They're like, they don't want the co-buzz. They're just like, Spotify's great, Dad. It's great. It plays everything. And we were bumping the music out there and doing the yard work and everything out of the sun. So that was really super awesome. Yeah, great way to end the show. Can't wait to be grandparents. So one of these days. Oh, and on that, I do need to end the show because it's 8:00 my time. So that'll be 9-10 o'clock on the East Coast. I don't know if there's any East Coasters. Maybe I should do roll calls next time and get everybody to report back where they are coming from, and who all's watching and that kind of thing. But we're going to go ahead and wind it down now. Thanks for watching. Remember, please like, subscribe, ring the bell, do all those things. Man, I can say that. Obviously, I'm a YouTuber. If you want to support the channel, there's a become a member button down below. Otherwise, just your time here with me is always appreciated. Thank you so much. And remember, when we get up to 10-ish or so members, I'm going to start doing the members only stream. So I've got 5 now. So 5 more. Come on, folks, just 5 more. And we'll be in a good spot to start those exclusive members only streams. All right, everybody, Dwayne, Master Lessons, Rich, Double A, Hi-Fi Haven, Master Lessons, Jan, Hi-Fi Haven, everybody. Thank you so much for joining, and I'll see you guys in the next video.